Hello and welcome to Cutting the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben and I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
And Claire.
Hey.
I'm starting a little mini-series. Right? It's my pick for the episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some UFO UK stuff.
Right.
That's what this photo is, British UFO Sightings. So the listener will figure out which ones I'm going to talk about because they won't be included on this list, which is like a bit of an introduction to show that we have a storied UFO spotting tradition in this country, and it's not all just America where stuff happens.
Yeah, we're just as batshit insane.
Yeah, of course we are. We see loads of shit.
We got crop circles.
We get loads of crop circles, especially in Shropshire. They're a hot spot. You know, so when it's my pick, the topic will, for the next few weeks, it'll be something about a British UFO sighting, building up to the biggie, and the listener will probably figure out what that is because I won't mention it in the preceding weeks. So that if you want to have a chat about that on our Facebook page, if you're that excited about it, feel free. Follow us on Facebook too. That'd be nice. We post memes, lots of good memes. So let's thank some new and returning listeners. Where should we start from? The Bronx, New York, Salt Lake City, Utah, Birmingham in the United Kingdom, Bristol, Pennsylvania, yeah, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. I always say like that from The Simpsons. Budapest in Hungary, Frankfurt am Main in Germany, Portland, Oregon, Derby in the UK, Blackburn in the United Kingdom, yay, Blackburn Rovers, finest team in the land. Linlithgow, never heard of that place. Gulf Breeze, Gulf Breeze, Florida, and there's some famous UFO sightings in Gulf Breeze, I know that much. Reykjavik, how did you say Reykjavik? Reykjavik. Oh, Reykjavik. In Iceland, Dallas, Texas, Rector, damn near killed her. Boardman, Oregon, Richland, Washington, Bengaluru, India, Tel Aviv in Israel. Someone's bored in their shelter.
There's a ceasefire now.
Oh, is there? Oh, right, okay. Were you bored in your shelter? Let us know. Cumming, Georgia, Lloydminster, Canada, Telford, our hometown, the United Kingdom, and Rochester, New York. Shady Nasty's dropped off the map completely.
Yeah, ever since I said that they were a serial killer, they never listened back. Are they joking? You're probably not a serial killer.
They're not listening, man, they don't know.
Yeah. Oh. Maybe they are a serial killer then.
Maybe they got fed up with mispronouncing their home name, their hometown name. Unless that person has moved to Rochester.
Maybe.
New York.
Yeah, it's still New York.
If that's true, then watch out, Rochester's a new serial killer in town.
Thank you to all our listeners wherever you may be. It's much appreciated and it fuels our own tragic egos. Alright then, let's start. The Decmont Woods encounter. This is actually a strange one. There's physical evidence. There's an encounter. A man got his trousers ripped.
So a man got raped on the moors and tried to blame it on aliens.
No.
Oh, okay.
On November 9th, 1979, a 60-year-old forestry worker named Robert Taylor was walking his dog through Decmont Woods in Scotland. The walk was uneventful at first, and the night sounds their only company on the trail, until he came across a clearing that contained a metal craft.
Straight into it.
Metal craft.
The craft was hovering above the ground when he came upon it, and two smaller metal objects sprang from the larger craft and clung to his legs.
Fuck.
Shocked and unable to move, the smaller objects began dragging Robert towards a large craft which still hovered nearby. He could feel his awareness beginning to slip before he succumbed to unconsciousness. The last thing he recalled was a stinging, heady smell and the loud humming or hissing sound.
Heady smell.
Shot himself.
I would have too!
Well, yeah.
By Robert's count, he was out for about 20
How
minutes.
do you know?
He doesn't know, maybe he's going to watch, I don't know.
Maybe.
Thoroughly freaked out, and who wouldn't be, Robert slowly shambled his way back to his truck, but his truck refused to start. So in a string of bad luck that seemed to be never ending, Robert was forced to walk the mile back to his house, aching, confused, and probably more than a bit terrified.
Best if he has shot himself.
Upon seeing Robert, his wife immediately called the police, based on his state, dishevelled, torn trousers, shallow cuts on his legs and face, and they began investigating the situation as an assault. Their minds would soon shift away from that based on Robert's story and what they found in the clearing. But we'll get to that in a second. This Robert is not your usual crackpot. He is a devout Christian churchgoer and a war hero. We salute you, Robert, even though you're probably dead now.
Probably a little bit of shrapnel on his brain, probably.
Are you saying one of Britain's beloved war veterans would lie about being encountered an abduction by aliens, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's quite possible, isn't it? Let's have a listen to what he has to say.
Right, so let's take a moment to describe the craft that Robert claims to have encountered that day. It was spherical with porthole windows and a ledge around its middle. Small sections of railing rose from the ledge intermittently all around its circumference. The smaller objects are also spheres and had poles or spikes protruding from their surfaces. When these smaller objects were deployed, the bottom half of the metal sphere opened to let them out. All of the objects appeared to be made of some kind of dark metal. It was not brightly shining like other UFO craft we hear about. So as stated earlier, the police took this incident seriously, as you would. This noted war hero and devout member of the Christian faith community in the town has come back from the woods looking like he's been beaten up with his trousers, and someone's ripped his trousers.
He's not just tripped on the way home.
No. Of course he didn't. It was obviously an alien craft, Claire.
What was the dog?
Well, I assume the dog's okay. I don't know. There's no mention of the dog after this. Maybe they took the dog. As stated...
Maybe he raped and bummed the dog to death and blamed it on aliens.
Well, there is evidence.
There's evidence that he bummed the dog? Oh my god, I got it right.
That explains the scratches and the ripped trousers.
Yeah.
So, they took Robert's statement, searched the woods, taking note of any evidence that aligned with Robert's story. And there were two pieces of note. First, the clearing that Robert stated he encountered the ships in bore deep marks. They did not appear to have a point of entry or exit in the clearing, meaning they were not the result of something being dragged or driven in and out of the clearing. So there's no tracks, no trails.
Okay.
So that's the feet of the craft.
Yep.
Right, okay.
The marks themselves are described to be 32 holes that were 3.5 inches deep, along with some markings that bore similarities to those of a continuous track, such as those found on conduction vehicles, but nothing's left.
Continuous track means like
Like a caterpillar tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, tan tracks. Like you're on a digger, but nothing's left.
helicopter could have winched one.
It's a possibility. I think he might have noticed a helicopter though.
It could have been winched it from one place to another. Pilot had to land it to refuel in the middle of nowhere and took off again.
Well, the second piece of evidence was the trousers Robert was wearing at the time of the encounter. They were ripped. An examination of the material showed that the gesture to rip them would have had to been sharp and upwards in direction. So, collaborating his event, they just grabbed him and ripped up. The police discarded the assault theory, many believing that Robert had truly faced off an extraterrestrial craft and lived to tell. Others were sceptical, and various attempts to debunk the sightings have occurred. Skeptics cite celestial phenomena such as the planet Venus. Yeah? No. Clearly not.
Well, that's not going to explain the ripped trousers.
Others suggest a physical or mental ailment could have caused Robert to hallucinate the encounter entirely.
Swamp gas. It
Swamp
always
gas.
comes back to swamp gas.
The police, what it doesn't say in this article, but in an article I read earlier, is that the indentations were many tons. It would have taken many tons to drive. They worked that out from the weight, the depth and stuff like that. The police said it would have been sort of about 3 tons, I think they said.
Okay.
So you've got physical evidence of a landing. And you've got this terrified bloke in his ripped trousers. And a missing dog.
Oh, the dog went missing?
Well, I've no idea, but it's not mentioned again, is
Yeah.
it? It's the only UFO case in this country to have ever been investigated by the police.
And what did they conclude, the police?
Well, I suppose that it's an unopened case, isn't it? Basically, it's in the what do you call it, Kate file? The unsolved.
Involved, yeah.
Along with 97% of all the other crimes. That was a figure we come across, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Police solve about 3% of crimes or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so they investigated this, but meanwhile someone was getting mugged. Right, well, that's
I don't know, it's just a bit, there's not a lot to go on.
Well, you've got, obviously this guy you'd argue is fairly reliable, unless he had some post-traumatic stress disorder.
Maybe.
But you got the physical evidence, the physical indentations in the ground, and nothing's left. I mean, I like your dropping it off by helicopter just to refuel it for a bit in the middle of nowhere theory, but it's unlikely, isn't it?
Probably more likely than...
Is it though?
I don't know.
Is it though, Claire?
But
Do you think?
there's got to be something out there. You know, we keep on saying it over and over, don't we? You know, that there's that many people reporting it. It only takes that 1% to be.
Oh, it only takes one out of the millions.
Yeah,
It's true, but is this the one?
Is this
Out of the
the
million,
one?
that's what we're going to...
It's seen as being up there as a genuine encounter. Whether or not it was, I mean, we don't know there's aliens there.
Do they know that the clearing was definitely not disturbed? I mean, it could have just been the machines that cut down trees, don't they? It could have been
Dunno,
some wood chipper or something, it could have been anything.
Yeah, but the police are literally going, okay, well, yeah, about these indentations in the ground. It would have taken something that weighed a lot of tons to put them in.
You've
That's
seen
deep.
what diggers and
Yeah,
stuff. They weigh
but then
fuck
nothing's
ton.
left. They'd notice the ground to be churned up, wouldn't it? These things are in a circular thing.
Well, maybe it was on the back of a dump truck.
The dump truck's still got to go in and out.
Yeah, but that's
haven't they?
wheeled, innit? So maybe...
There's nothing left and nothing around. There was no tracks. All the tracks are just in the clearing and nothing to either side.
Or maybe it had been a few weeks and the growth had grown back.
Well, yeah, but think of the time scale. He stumbled home, right?
And
His
they're
wife's called the
investigating it,
police.
Yeah.
They've taken his statement and then they've gone, okay, then we're going to go and have a look, haven't we? So they've gone out there like either that day or the next. Probably the same day, pretty straight after leaving him.
He could have been confused. He could have seen it a few weeks ago and then ripped his trousers, fell over and knocked his head.
I
and
think
then,
that's-
it happened tonight. And it didn't.
That's stretching. So he did see something then?
Yeah. The tree felling machine or the wood chipper that was there.
Nah, I'm sorry, you're clutching at straws. Sounds terrible. I think it's, in this scenario, it's more likely you did actually get assaulted by weird alien probes.
And why did they just attack his legs and then he fell unconscious? Then what? It had disappeared. Everything had gone.
Well, they obviously did what they did. They ripped his trousers, examined him, and then fired back up, didn't they? This sounds like some kind of a probe to me. I don't think this was like manned as such. I think this is like an autonomous thing.
Or
Yeah,
they,
it was on a global search of the universe for denim trousers. I don't know. What's it looking for?
It's just examining what's there, isn't it?
they could have inserted anything, couldn't they? Any piece of technology, and you know, he wouldn't know unless he had a scan.
You
He'd
know,
be super paranoid. He would need to go to the doctor and go, right, you've got to give me a scan after this.
scan my head.
Scan everything.
I've got an alien baby inside me.
I think it carries some weight, this one. I think you've got the physical evidence. You've got a guy that is reasonably sane, as an upstanding member of his community.
It's just witness testimony in it, and it's one person.
Well,
it's not multiple people that collaborate in the story.
It
I
is,
don't know.
but
It's weird.
it is.
It's weird.
The physical evidence speaks a lot.
Probably forever be unsolved. To be fair.
Yeah, of course, but it's aliens, isn't it?
Okay, next one.
Yeah, the Falkirk Triangle. Scotland has a lot of UFO activity. But in the Falkirk Triangle, they are literally seeing about 300 a year.
It's only one a day.
Yeah,
But to be fair, that's what the Navy pilots have been saying, haven't they?
that's it.
They've been seeing like one a day.
And for some reason, this little Scottish town called Falkirk in the centre of Scotland, bordered by the M9, M8 and M80 motorways, has become known in some quarters as a UFO hotspot. I mean, the small town of Bonnybridge has got a population of 6,800, and these people are getting chased by UFOs in their cars. Anyway, 300. It's got to the point now where they're seeing so many of these things that the councillor, Billy Buchanan, has become so concerned at the reports, he's appealed to 3 prime ministers, Cameron, Blair and Major, to order an urgent investigation. Although the Ministry of Defence say they are satisfied there is no evidence the United Kingdom's airspace might have been compromised. Of course they're not going to be, are they going to say that?
I'm not going to say that now.
Yeah, so like a couple of examples. And so 1979, forestry worker Bob Taylor reported seeing a
That's what we just had.
Yeah, I know. No, it's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is Bob Taylor.
Oh yeah.
The last guy.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Robert, of course. Boom. Edit that out.
I'll leave that in. Make you look alright, Wally.
Isabella Sloggett at the town meeting said, my daughter Carol and I saw UFO land right in front of us. A door opened and there was a howl-like sound. I screamed and ran off terrified. So yeah, he's campaigned for the town to be twinned with Roswell. He also plans to build a multi-million-pound UFO theme park to increase tourism in an area with high levels of deprivation and post-industrial malaise.
He wants to make a quick buck.
He's going to cash in on it. He wants a lot less, doesn't he?
Exactly. So now he's got a motive now to believe in it.
Yeah, I agree with that. The second anyone starts putting this out for profit, is like, well, yeah, all right, it might be a UFO hotspot. A lot of people are seeing a lot of things in the sky that they can't explain. But 300, so let's say that 299 of them are probably just stuff they don't recognise. And if the British military is going to have secret bases to conduct, tests on its new aircraft, they're probably going to be in Scotland because it's a bit remote.
It's a barren wasteland, that's why.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. And it always rains. But yeah, that's the little Falkirk triangle. It's worth noticing. There's a little quick one to throw in.
Well, wouldn't you? If there's been 300 sightings, wouldn't you just always wear like a body camera?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the triangle should wear a body camera and see if they could get some definitive evidence.
Yeah. You'd also probably encounter people committing a lot of crime as well. There may not be anyone left in Bonnybridge by the end of a 3-week period. I don't know. Never been there. But yeah, should we go to the next one?
Sounds Bonnie though.
It does. Alright, so the A70 incident, the Scottish one. A lot of stuff goes on in Scotland. Ministry of Defence took this abduction so seriously they investigated it, filing an official report. So, it's 27th of August 1992, a little after 11:30 p.m. An ambulance technician, Gary Wood, and his friend Colin Wright are driving along the A70 between Edinburgh and Torbrax, which is a little village in South Lanarkshire in Scotland. It's a fairly straightforward journey, you can do it in 30 minutes. And the pair were just popping round to the village to drop off a satellite system to their pal.
11:30 at night, you're dropping off satellite systems?
It's drugs.
I was going to say.
Gary was reportedly driving at 40 miles an hour and there was little traffic around. The car had just passed Harperig Reservoir when Gary and Colin saw a 2-tiered dish-shaped object hovering 20 feet over the road, and it definitely wasn't an aircraft or helicopter. Terrified, Gary put his foot down and sped under the object, using his elbow to lock the doors.
So he's 40 miles an hour, says something, decides I can stop and turn around, or I can just fucking speed up and go under this motherfucker. Elbows down on the fucking locks the door. What a badass.
The object emitted a silver shimmering mist as it touched the car, and both men were enveloped in total darkness.
Okay, probably wasn't the wisest choice then. Probably best to stop and turn around.
Oh, a bit of a rubbernecker. I'd be like,
screeching up like, hey!
What's all this?
You alien fuckers, come down here so I can punch you and say welcome to Earth.
I'd flash my lights on it.
Oh yeah, I think just laser blast you. Don't be the
Get out the
welcome wagon.
way. Get out the way. You got your main beams on.
Maybe the aliens are the mist. They're in the mist.
Aliens in the mist.
Yeah.
Why not? What seemed to be a second later, the pair regained their sight. Gary, still driving like a madman, was fighting hard to control the car, but managed to.
That's
regain
surprising.
his
Blind.
composure.
You're driving blind for God knows how long.
Mike.
Oh, a second later. Sorry.
Mike, lots of people drive when they can't see. Dominic Cummings, Michael Gove. They can't see. They stop in the car, test their eyesight. Perfectly normal thing to do.
I have loved that this week. Dominic Cummings coming out and saying all that shit about Boris.
It's been fun, hasn't it?
Oh yeah. Nothing will happen.
No, nothing will happen, but it's been fun nonetheless. So, reaching their destination, Gary, of course, frantically banged on the door of his friend's house. The friend was concerned on answering as the pair were 90 minutes late with his drugs.
1 a.m. now.
Yeah. What happened in this unaccounted time? They only felt like they blacked out for a second. They left to return to Edinburgh, taking a different route home, but Gary had the feeling something else had happened.
I can guess what happened.
Soon after the
Date rape.
encounter, he was bothered by strange dreams. He developed severe headaches and even had a CAT scan, but nothing unusual was found. After suspecting something had gone awry, the pair turned to hypnosis to see what happened, to see if there was something lodged in their subconscious that could provide them with the truth. Now, Helen Waters is a qualified hypnotherapist and psychic.
Oh.
I don't know how you become a qualified psychic. She was called in to help to get to the bottom of the mystery through hypnotic regression. During his first session, Gary burst into tears and was distraught, but Colin remained calm.
Oh, well, we know who did the date raping. It was Colin.
Colin, you shady bastard. Over the course of several weeks, Gary recalls seeing vague shapes while both men's bodies jolted as they recalled the encounter. Both men stated the car was stopped, after which the doors were opened by 3 small entities. Colin was led up a ramp into the object where he found himself in a round room with a curved chair. He was stripped naked and placed on the chair, where a medical examination was conducted on him. Gary remembers being taken to a round room with a raised table, and he too was stripped and placed on the table. They both came out of their encounter with scars which previously were not there, which further added to the mystery. Both men have never changed their stories and have even passed a lie detector test on TV. Once classified documents released by the British government in 2012 revealed that the Ministry of Defence had taken the, quote, abduction so seriously they investigated it, filing an official report.
I wonder if that's like available.
A lot
Yeah.
of them have been,
Yeah,
they've all been
probably.
declassified, haven't they?
Declassified but highly redacted,
Yeah.
a lot of it.
And what's his name?
Nick Pope.
Yeah, Nick Pope. He was sort of the head guy that sort of collected all this stuff.
We should point out actually that Nick Pope is like probably the British UFO investigator because he worked literally, that was his job with the MOD.
Yeah.
He was a real life Fox Mulder.
He said that 99% of them are explainable. 1% or so aren't. Might be more than 1%, might be like 3% or something. But he said there's one which really he thought was really sort of like.
Is it the missing photo?
Yeah.
Got it later on.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
I know there's a missing photo, but he says it got incinerated by mistake.
Yeah, it was accidentally just. We'll get. Don't worry,
Okay,
we'll get to it. It's my last one because
Okay.
it's probably the strongest one.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says it's the strongest case he's seen, and the evidence got burnt in the incinerator. That's dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah. Alright, Prestwick Airport, this is a quickie. Sightings have been reported. They're calling it air, because it's air in Scotland, they're calling it Area 51. I like it.
For the listener, how do you spell it?
Air is spelled A-Y-R. It's Scottish. Falkirk Airport, basically, Prestwick Airport, sorry. They trapped a UFO on radar, the RAF turned up and took over the case
Okay.
and investigated it.
And the UFO was caught on radar.
It was caught on radar tracking, yeah.
Yeah.
No sighting, no physical sightings were caught on radar.
Okay.
And the MOD said, no, nothing got him. We'd know. Nothing compromised our airspace.
But he clearly did.
He clearly did. They had it on radar.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is a lot of UFO sightings do occur on radar, and then it's backed up by pilot confirmation. In this case, it wasn't, but they had it on radar.
Could it have been a bird?
A big
Birds get caught.
Well, they tracked a fast-moving and unexplained UFO which sparked a flurry of activity. The RAF Air Defence Staff launched an urgent investigation and impounded the radar tapes.
So we'll never get to see them?
Nope. But there was only radar evidence. Although there was an eyewitness, a member of the public wrote to the Ministry of Defence to report an object harassing a plane near Prestwick Airport.
Alright.
But then again, the pilot didn't report it, unless he did and there was on the impounded
This was
tapes.
4 years later.
Yeah. The eyewitness says it's a fluorescent green UFO saucer-shaped. Came within 50 feet away from the plane.
Right.
But yeah, that's the main one, is the radar tapes. A lot of UFO sightings have radar tapes. You know,
Could it be a flock of birds? Could it?
it depends what it's doing on the radar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's moving at like 2,000 miles an hour and rapidly changing direction, then
It ain't Canadian geese.
it's
No.
not Canadian geese, it's something else. I mean, but the radar doesn't give you like this beautiful holographic projection. It's just a blip doing random shit on the screen, isn't it?
I don't know if radar can pick up things like that.
It will pick up flocks of geese.
Yeah.
I mean, radar operators have nearly launched nuclear weapons because a flock of geese was thought to be an incoming ICBM. Oh, there's an
Why doesn't that
episode.
surprise me?
The times that we've nearly gone to nuclear war over mishaps.
We sort of mentioned it in the Threads episode, didn't we?
Yeah, we do.
But only briefly.
The interesting we want to look at actually in the future. So yeah, that was that one. Just impounded radar tapes, a bit dodgy, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the most famous local one for you:
Okay.
the RAF Cosford incident,
What year was this?
1993.
Yeah,
I think.
this ties in about the same time I probably saw my UFO. If it was a UFO, well, it was an unidentified flying object anyway.
Yeah. Tell us your story, Mike.
Well, I've told it before. I was just playing computer with a mate. I got up and I looked out the window, and there was something purple hovering over the trees, and it just sort of like just shot up, dead fast. Now, it was like a purple blob. I can't really remember, but was it because I've been playing on the computer for hours and I was seeing things, or did I see something? But it was about that time. I was about that age, about 11, 12 when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is RAF Cosford, which isn't a massive military base. I mean, the runway is so small it can't take fast jets. It's a training base nowadays,
Dead close to where we live.
but it's very close to where we live, and it's probably Shropshire's most famous UFO sighting. And so in 1993, an MOD police patrol reported a large triangular craft over the Midlands Air Base, which fired a beam at the ground before speeding off. One of a dozen UFOs reported flying at speed over the skies of Britain at the same time. So, actually, Mike, your sighting, if it's, let's say that it is 1993 and around this time,
About the same time.
a lot of people saw something in the sky that night. So maybe you weren't alone.
I didn't know about this until years after. I mean, it sounds I was about the right age, about 11, 12, something like that.
So Nick Pope, who we mentioned earlier, who ran the MOD's UFO project, believes the high-profile event, dubbed the Cosford incident, formed part of the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, which is ATIP, which the Pentagon was running. So the Pentagon looked at this and went, "Ooh, what's it doing firing a beam at the ground?" Interesting coincidence with Rendlesham. The Rendlesham Forest incident, because the UFO was spotted over the base, and that was a nuclear weapon storage facility, Rendlesham Forest, one of those secure places in NATO, and that fired a beam to the ground as well. So are they looking for nuclear weapons?
Well, there's been a lot of reports of nuclear weapons turning on and off, hasn't there?
There has. And aliens interfering directly with
Well,
command and control of
no.
strange craft hovering over,
Yeah.
and then the guys inside finding that
Equipment has gone
that's a scooter
faulty.
going past, listener, sorry.
Found out their equipment has gone faulty.
Yeah.
Nuclear weapons turning on and off again. It's got to freak you out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
You don't want them launching. Literally these things were gearing up to launch, and then they just shut down.
Makes you think.
It does.
It's unnerving.
It is. Yes, that's exactly the word I choose for it. It's unnerving.
Of course, if it is aliens and they can just set off our nuclear weapons at will and we can't stop them, and they could just make us destroy ourselves. I mean, you wouldn't need to do anything. You wouldn't need to invade, would you?
No.
You just pull up, make them fire off all their nukes,
Yeah.
and then just go down and clear out what's left.
Mop up the survivors.
Yeah.
Well, this one.
But you've also got a wasted planet at that point too, haven't you?
Yeah, but
And we're the only planet in this region of the solar system that we know about that's got life and a diversity of life and
come
natural
back.
resources.
About 200 years.
Oh yeah, but they won't wait 200 years. They want us intact. They want the resources.
What if the aliens can live for thousands of years?
But what if they can't? What if they're a dying race?
Well,
What if they're us in the future?
Well, then they wouldn't do that then, would they? I'm just putting up a fucking theory as to why they might.
I don't think they're going to want to pillage us.
Of course they do. It's what we've always done, isn't it?
Well, that, maybe they want to come and teach us this. That
Oh, well, go on. Okay, yeah. The Intergalactic Council of Light, with Vrillian and Vrilly Boy, the space hippies, they might do, but you can guarantee, I will guarantee you one thing, like, as an amateur UFO investigator, very amateur, that if we did make a deal with aliens at any point, it wasn't the nice ones. It was the ones who would give us the most for shady reasons. Like if Vrillian and the Galactic Council of Light turn up and go, hey, yeah, we'll give you all this tech, but you've got to get rid of your nukes, man. You've got to disarm. We don't have that. You've got to stop being such a foreign species. We'll educate you. And they go, okay, we'll think about it. And then like the Greys turn up, and they're like, yeah, you just let us abduct like 400 people a year and do weird experiments on them, and we'll give you all this also awesome tech shit.
Well, that's
which is more advanced than what they're going to give you.
Yeah, but that's assuming that we've met with them, and I'm not ready to. I'm ready to go down that road.
Yeah, but which one would you bet on that the Earth government would take?
Oh, yeah,
give up the nukes and have eternal peace and happiness, or don't give up the nukes, let so many people get experimented on, and get better stuff.
Of course. We know there's psychopaths that run the world. Of course they're going to choose that one.
It depends who they're talking to, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I don't believe that they probably are. I mean, it's a bit far-fetched. Need some evidence for that, but...
I'm just saying.
I'm happy to believe that it's possible there might be alien drones, and because that's what we do, isn't it? We send drones to Mars and shit and other planets.
Yeah, probes and little robots. So this was March 31st around 1:15 a.m. MOD officers reported a vast triangular-shaped craft flying at about 200 feet. It made a low humming noise and fired a beam of light which swept the ground, left trails of luminous vapour and sped off in a southeast direction. Most eyewitnesses described the craft as having two white lights, but some said there was a third, giving an impression the object was in fact triangular. In his report at the time, Mr. Pope said there was a UFO of unknown origin operating in the UK airspace without showing up on radar. So I don't know who would... I'm guessing that's to do with sighting collaborations and things like that.
And how high have you got to be to go on radar,
Yeah, 200 feet is probably below radar.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that threshold is. I've seen it on the films, we're flying below the radar,
Yeah.
Don't know what the threshold is.
So yes, there's the Cosford incident. That's nearly our hometown. So you did see something, Mike?
Maybe.
It's got more than one witness as well, because there's witnesses, isn't it? So
there was a lot of people that phoned in and saw stuff.
There was a lot of sightings that night apparently, so it's something was buzzing around the UK. But what's it firing that beam at the ground for?
Well, it's Cosford. Maybe it was seen if it's, a shady operation. Or
yeah. I mean, for all
we don't know, do we?
No,
It could be just a front, couldn't it?
Well, that's it. For all we know, those because you got them big round, the big hangars that are covered in grass at Cosford, aren't you?
Yeah.
For all we know, they go like deep underground. The runway is extended underneath, and that's where we are firing. If we were to launch a nuclear strike on somebody, that's where bombers would fly from, in these underground silos that we all think is a perfectly harmless training base.
It could have just been collecting a soil sample. Who knows?
Yeah,
That crackling you can hear, so listener, is Chester the show cat making his presence known by scratching the side of Mike's chair.
Oh shit.
Alright, so let's move on to the next one. This is Ilkley Moor.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire, part of Romboards Moor, which stretches from Ilkley to Kiley. The area is known for providing the inspiration for the Yorkshire anthem. On Ilka Moor Barat. I have no idea how that translates.
The Yorkshire anthem?
Apparently, yeah, the Yorkshire anthem.
On Ilka Moor Batat. Never fucking heard of it.
Neither have I. So the area has changed a little over the centuries. But almost 30 years ago, Ilkley Moor found itself at the centre of an alien investigation. On the morning of December 1st, 1987, retired policeman Philip Spencer was walking across the moor, heading for his father-in-law's home. He'd taken his camera in the hope of catching some images of the early morning light. In fact, the photographs he took that day would end up in the world's press. Using a compass to navigate through the fog, Spencer said he came across a strange-looking being. Hurriedly taking a picture of the creature when it ran away, he decided to follow it and claimed to have caught a glimpse of a craft with a dome top rising from the moor and disappearing into the sky. Spencer said he imagined this whole incident taking no longer than a few minutes, but when he reached his destination, the village clock was an hour ahead of time, with many UFO experts believing he had in fact been the victim of alien abduction.
Never go wandering about on the moors at night in the mist. You're asking for fucking trouble.
He's navigating by
I
compass.
don't give a shit if he's navigating by fucking the stars.
You can't see the stars. It's foggy.
Yeah, foggy, you can still see up, can't you?
No. No, you can't. The photographs Spencer took, although slightly blurred, appeared to have shown a 4-foot alien creature. Analysis of the images concluded the figure hadn't been superimposed and it bore no resemblance to any native wildlife. For some reason the picture's not on the article.
No.
We'll have a look at it. I think I know, well, I know which one it is, but just for you two trying to look at. It's definitely something. It's grainy, it's blurred, or there's something there.
There is an outline, isn't there, of something unhuman.
It's so blurry, you can't tell. I mean...
Looks like a grey.
What year did he take this photograph?
1987.
Looks like it was taken in fucking 1937. Doesn't it?
Yeah, but what's your average 1987? What's your average camera?
Better than that. Got pictures of holiday and shit in the 80s. When I was a kid.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
I mean, I know it was foggy and you're on the moor but at night, but really bad picture. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Looks like there's something there, but it could be his cousin.
His cousin Earl.
Yeah. He looks a bit gangly.
I thought it was going to be like a shadowy bush. You are on the moors, you know.
A shadowy bush.
Yeah, shadowy bush.
Could have been. But what do you account for the alien, with the UFO sighting after?
The craft.
Only he saw, in all fairness.
Exactly.
Retired policeman.
It's possible.
Meh.
Nah. Okay. Alright, go to the next one. Berkshire. UFO sightings. Massive white objects and huge triangular craft seen in the skies above.
I think it's pronounced
Triangular again.
Berkshire then.
Berkshire.
I read it how it's written, Mike, you know that. Huge white objects and a V-shaped craft with some of the strange items seen in the skies above Berkshire in 2020. The Northwest UFO Research and Investigation Group has provided new statistics which show the southeast is one of the country's hotspots for UFO sightings. There were 9 sightings in Berkshire over the course of 2020, which puts it in 3rd of the southeast countries in number of sightings. Although there's been 15 sightings in Hampshire and 17 in Kent. However, the sightings in Berkshire are quite spectacular. One person in Woking reported they had seen a white-coloured object about 500 feet in the area, just hovering over the houses.
It's got a bit of moon on it.
Probably. Another person said they saw a bright object which lasted for a short period of time before disappearing in the skies above Reading in April. Again, probably the moon. Then on August 18th there was another sighting in Reading. Perhaps invoking the classic sci-fi movie Independence Day, a huge triangular craft was spotted in the sky.
Well, why Independence Day they were circular, weren't they? They weren't triangular.
They were circulating.
Yeah, but it's just like it was huge.
Okay.
22 reports in March last year alone. However, these can be attributed to the launch of Elon Musk's SpaceX Starlink satellites, which are very visible in March and April.
There we go, could be that.
And this did apparently to a big jump in UFO sightings in the UK. The sightings in Berkshire contribute to a total of 484 reports of UFOs in Britain in 2020.
Who do they report them to then?
Police, I guess. Because I suppose you can't just ring up the MOD. Hello, Ministry of Defence. I've seen something in the sky. Well, we'll be out there, and then the men in black are there, and they're flashy thinging you.
So do you think they put you through to someone that's going to take you seriously and not going to be like, yeah, right then, mate?
In the past, I'm probably thinking definitely someone who's not going to take it seriously, but recently, I'm thinking maybe not. They're starting to take it a bit more seriously now, aren't they?
They are. I also think that it would... If you were the only person that saw it, they'll say, yeah, we'll come out and take a statement and never show up. If they get multiple reports, I think they're more likely to follow up on that. So if you've got multiple witnesses, then I think that's something that would have to be investigated, because that's the potential threat to national security, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like the Cosford one, I think is one of the strongest ones, because a lot of people are seeing stuff in the sky over Britain that night, and there was one hovering over a military base. Alright, a very low level military base that we know of, that it's low level. Could be a storage base for nukes for all we know. They're going to tell us, aren't they? No. By the way, most of Britain's nuclear stockpile is stored at Cosford near Telford. Oh, great! Well, we're going to get taken out in the first strike then, aren't we?
Of course. I've never understood this. It's illogical to say that nuclear weapons keeps us safe. It makes us a target, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's the whole mutually assured destruction thing, isn't it?
I know, it's ridiculous.
But do listen to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, did a great episode on this. The nuclear poker game, basically, from 1945 up to the end of the Cold War.
What's still going on now?
It's a 6-hour podcast. It's fucking phenomenal. I think it's still free because he has a lot of stuff behind his paywall now. But yeah, do listen to that. That explains it a lot. It's great.
Yeah,
right,
they have to live with a 4-minute warning, didn't they?
Yeah.
You have a 4-minute warning when Russia launches the nukes.
That's just a Britain.
What can you do in 4 minutes?
You can put your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's what you can do. Try and suck your own dick.
You can't even follow the government's advice, which was ridiculous anyway, which is to take a door off the hinges, lean it up against the wall, collect loads of bags of soil, put the soil against the door. Yeah, I know, 4 minutes.
What?
Well, presumably you'd be under like red alert, you'd be under direct threat of nuclear attack, so you'd have that stuff to hand. You'd have made it before, wouldn't you? Because you unless there's like an initial first strike, just out of nowhere, surely tensions have been building. And you're like, maybe I should get that shelter ready.
Yeah, but then you look a right dick, didn't you?
Yeah, you do, but at the same time, you've got a shelter.
No one's going to do that. No one's going to.
No, and I'm not going to do it because I'm too fucking lazy to bag up like 20 bin bags full of topsoil and make a fucking safe room. But someone will, and that person will be able to fly the Union flag proudly on their bit of scorched earth for Queen and country, my friend.
As if that's going to save you anyway.
No, it's not.
Not if the windows get blown in, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't set up your door by the window, do you?
You've got to set up in a room, haven't you?
Yeah, so if alright, in this room the window is behind me right now. I'm not gonna set the thing up over there.
It doesn't matter, does it? Because the nuclear radiation is going to get into the window once the window's blown in.
Well, that's true,
The
yeah.
Any way to do it in my
if you
flat.
make it underneath, you know, if you're building yourself a shelter, you'd have to dig it underground, wouldn't you?
Well, I know, yeah, but you got 4 minutes. What are you going to do?
I don't know, not you know. I'm talking about preparing.
Well, in Switzerland, every new house since the 1950s is built with its own nuclear bunker.
Yeah.
You can't build a house without having a bunker underneath.
Well,
And
the Apocalypse bunker.
Yeah, that's a government which cares for its citizens' well-being.
And also remember that every single person in the Swiss nation is a member of the Swiss Armed Forces or has undergone military training at some point. So they literally have assault rifles at home locked up.
Yeah.
So if they ever get the call,
And this is Switzerland, the country's been neutral in all the wars.
They could take over, couldn't they?
Think about it, they've got no nuclear weapons themselves.
No.
They always stay neutral, yet they still deem it necessary to put nuclear bunkers under the houses.
And equip every member of its population with an assault rifle and ammunition and uniform and military training.
But whereas our country have got nukes, we're a target, they've got nothing. Nothing.
Well, nukes only work against other
For
people
them,
with
they've got
nukes, don't they?
The elites have got bunkers, we've got nothing.
When we did the Threads episode, I went down this massive rabbit hole of where's my nearest nuclear bunker. It got into my head. So I sent a Freedom of Information request to Telford Recce Council asking are there any civilian shelters, and there are not.
What?
There are none in Telford, where we live.
And we've got a military base and an RAF base in our town.
And there's not even some there, no?
They'd have shelters
Well,
there.
yeah, for the military personnel, top military brass.
Oh, all the troops would be down there.
Oh,
If you were on base, you're on alert, you'd all be in uniform and
yeah,
kit.
that's true.
And as soon as that launch, because you need the soldiers to
Yeah,
control shit,
that's
don't
true,
you? So
yeah.
if you're in the armed forces, you're going to be, unless you're in the middle of the blast zone, you're going to be in a bunker.
Yeah, but civilians, nothing.
Nothing in the area.
Nope.
They're willing to sacrifice us all.
Pub cellar it is then.
You know, the pub cell is actually perfect. As long as you get enough salted snacks down there, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, as long as it's sealed off.
It's right
But
in
you
the
have to
alley on Dawley High Street, isn't it?
You are going to have to be in there for 2 years, remember?
Alright then, okay, the co-op as well.
Alright, the last one, and the most convincing. Basically, there's this photo, right? And it's been destroyed. So it's a top secret colour photographs said to show a flying saucer above the Scottish Highlands in August 1990, the Calvine incident. It was set to be released in the new year. However, they have been now blocked for a further 50 years. In other words, even if they've got the copies of it, they're locked up and they're never released. Nick Pope, who previously ran the UFO project for the MOD, tells the inside story. In the Ministry of Defence office, which served as the nerve centre of the UK's UFO project, fuck me, try saying that, we had something very similar, but our picture was real. Most photos are obviously, fakes, blurry, indistinct, a vague light in the sky. This thing, it's in broad daylight, it is up close and personal, and it showed a large diamond-shaped craft, and there is literally a fucking Harrier jump jet hovering in the air facing this fucking thing.
Who took the photo?
Some walkers.
And they sent it in?
Yeah, they sent it to the press.
They sent it to the press?
Originally they sent it to the press, the MOD then confiscated everything.
Before it was released in the papers?
Yeah.
Okay. That's dodgy, innit?
That is dodgy.
So 2 men had been out hiking near Calvin in Scotland. Suddenly they'd seen this massive UFO hang in the sky above their heads, silent, motionless and menacing. Awestruck, they shot off 6 photographs for the object accelerated away at immense speed vertically. The shell-shocked witnesses sent the photos to a Scottish newspaper, and a journalist contacted the MOD press conference looking for a comment. Somehow, perhaps using a D-notice or some sort of real-life Men in Black trickery, someone at the MOD managed to extract all the photos and the negatives from the newspaper, who never got them back. The MOD technical wizards leapt into action. The images were enlarged and analysed using the full resources and capabilities of intelligence community specialists. Even now, after all these years, he still really can't discuss the details. This is Nick Pope. It was unlike any conventional aircraft, nearly 100 feet in diameter. The photos hadn't been faked, and it was pretty much sensational.
And they've seen it.
They've seen it.
A handful of people have.
Yeah. They had a copy hanging on the wall at one point.
Huh.
Because the photos had been taken in daylight, with the surrounding countryside visible, the MOD boffins could make some calculations about the mystery object. Turned out to be nearly 100 feet in diameter. An enlargement of the photos revealed 2 military jets in the background. It wasn't clear if they were escorting the UFO, trying to intercept it, or whether their presence was coincidental and the pilots had been too far away to see it.
100 feet? Too far away to see it?
Yeah, going at 700 miles an hour.
I don't think it was coincidence.
You're going at 700...
It's 100 feet.
You're still going pretty fast.
I don't give a shit. Unless you're...
Actually, they should have picked it up on the radar.
Yeah, it's 100 feet.
They probably have, but that's been, buried as well.
Yeah.
If they've come and, nicked all
Now
the
this sort of
negatives
shit,
and that.
Raises my fucking,
Does it make you want to hop off the fence?
Yeah, of course it does.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a cover-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a cover-up of some sort. I want to stop the public from seeing something. So this is, yeah.
So Nick Pope's predecessors undertaken the investigation, and he was staggered to learn that it hadn't been proved possible to trace the aircraft. It was unprecedented, suggesting that someone inside the MOD had sabotaged the investigation and blocked the UFO project from getting to the truth. Dark forces were at work. We can quote from Nick Pope: "We consistently played down the true level of our interest in UFOs, while all the time behind closed doors we struggled to make sense of cases like the Calvine incident." MOD's standard line on UFOs is that the phenomenon is of no defence significance.
A meaningless
Really?
white horse soundbite that meant whatever we wanted it to mean.
Yeah. At best it's misleading, at worst it's a lie. We consistently played it down, as he says. Despite an extensive investigation, we never found a definitive explanation for what was seen at Calvine. Now listener, go and Google the image, because it's fucking ace. You will find it.
Which one is it?
It's
That
that one there at the top.
Well, I thought you said it was the straw house, isn't it? Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, that's the artist's impression. That's on the photo, but that's pretty much
Okay.
what
Yeah.
was there. So that's a Harrier,
Yeah.
and that
I
is
guess
some
that bit.
and craft,
Mm.
and it's probably flying at that point. So is it just the fact they came up on it really quick?
How big is a Harrier jet?
Well, if you think that's 100 feet across, you're probably looking at Harriers, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 feet, 30 feet maybe. But it's at least 2/3 as big as the jet and wider.
Yeah.
Up and down, so...
But that's not the real photo.
That's not the real photo, that's an artist's impression. The real photo was destroyed, but... Or what, certainly impounded. I mean, the fact they seized the negatives and never gave them back.
Yeah.
Those photos would cause wonderment, but they could cause controversy too. One time they nearly caused a diplomatic incident which threatened to unravel the UK's special relationship with the United States.
Special relationship. We're just a fucking lapdog.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's
a relationship.
There's only one time we were vaguely equal on the world stage, and sadly that was
1776.
No, no, it was in the 80s. It was probably straight after the Falklands, and Thatcher was riding high, and we'd just gone and fought a major war and won.
No, come
And the Americans said it was impossible. Yeah, it's true. Because the Americans had done nothing, they got their asses kicked in Vietnam. We'd just gone across the globe, fought a war, won it, without using nuclear weapons or overwhelming nuclear numbers of troops.
Then it was Argentine's
It
conscripts.
doesn't matter. The Americans highly rated the Argentinians and they're the most effective fighting force in South America.
That doesn't take a lot.
Well, no, but still. Wasn't an easy thing. 12,000 miles away.
I don't know.
End of a very tenuous supply line. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. They really shoved us up the world rankings, that did. So did the win over Argentina in the World Cup with that David Beckham penalty.
Hey.
So this one is definitely, I think, might be enough to get Mike off a fence.
Yeah. Somebody's definitely fishy up here, isn't it?
It's too suspicious, isn't
Yeah.
it? What's surrounding it?
I love the fact that Jet's shadow in it. That's ace. It's like, oh, we know you're here, big boy. And
Do you reckon there's like a whole vault of dead good photographs of alien craft? We
literally.
always get the fucking blurred shit that they release to us.
Yeah.
We can't see shit. But they've got the pristine ones locked away. And
Yeah, the ones that have literally got aliens shaking hands with people and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I do. I reckon there is.
I think they've got like pictures from like these jets of, just clearer pictures I don't think we know what they are yet. Possibly, I don't think we're in like cahoots with them or anything like that. And I think they're trying to get as much information.
I think they know more than they've given us, because
yeah,
since the Foo Fighters in World War II, we've seen these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? Something's in the skies. Something's up there. Something's happening.
Interesting.
So those are my top few UFO UK sightings. Listener, we will continue this next, when it's my pick in a couple of weeks. It's going to be the Welsh Roswell next.
Okie doke.
Right.
Obviously, by including that one, the listener will figure out what the third part of what it is. I won't tell you just yet. Okay, so let's finish on some fucked up facts.
Team tune, please.
Facts, fucked up facts.
Hakal is a traditional Icelandic dish of fermented shark. The meat is poisonous if eaten fresh and takes months to prepare due to its high urea content.
Urine?
Yeah. Ainsley Harriet described eating it as like chewing a urine-infested mattress.
Oh!
So if you go to Finland, don't have the shark.
I'll bear that in mind. Yeah, if I want to eat piss-soaked mattress, I'll just come and eat Mike's bed.
Hey. I hope I get there first. In 1993, Sky and Telescope magazine held a contest to replace the term Big Bang.
Yeah. What were the options?
Well, you could just
submit your idea.
Submit the entry. Yeah, there was 13,000 of them.
Yeah.
Some of them included Buddha's burp.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Hubble bubble.
Nah.
Metamorphosis.
Nah.
Bertha D Universe.
Yeah, not bad.
And Doink.
Doink?
What? Doink.
Oh, not the clone wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, Doink. Let's name the Big Bang after Doink the clone.
The judges decided that nothing was better than Big Bang, and they kept it.
Yeah, it's a fair point, isn't it? Big Bang's pretty good. Not the show. That's terrible. But, you know.
Bang.
Is that Friends? There's a laugh track.
No, Friends was filming for a live audience.
Yeah, well, they got jugglers and circus performers in to entertain them beforehand, so they'd be in a good mood.
Yeah, I know, they all do that, don't they?
I'm sorry, they pioneered it. That's why comedy's got worse.
Used to watch Friends, it was alright back in the day.
I used to do that to wank over Jennifer Aniston.
We only had the 4 or 5 channels, yeah.
Scientists have created a mini black hole in the lab.
Ooh.
Don't do that.
And proved that Stephen Hawking was right when he theorised that a black hole would spontaneously emit light.
That's great, but don't create black holes in labs because that would suck everything. That's why everything's so fucked. They created that, we got sucked into a parallel universe. So we ended up with Trump, Boris and Brexit.
To clean out sea turtles after oil spills, rescuers feed them mayonnaise.
Did you mean to clean them out?
Give them the shit, I suppose.
Oh! So then poor turtles are like, oh man, this is fucking amazing. They're just eating mayonnaise with a spoon. This is fucking great. And then like they wake up in the middle of the night just violently shitting. Oh, it's terrible. Can't you just give some medicine?
I guess it works the best.
How did they get to that conclusion?
I don't know.
Yeah, how do you find? If you are a turtle and you're listening, then don't eat mayonnaise.
Unless you're in an oil slick, then eat mayonnaise because it'll help you.
Alright then, eat the mayonnaise. Don't eat it any other time. I don't know how many turtles listen, to be honest.
In 2015, a flight from Sydney to Kuala Lumpur had to be diverted after the 2,186 sheep on board farted so much that the plane's smoke sensors went off.
How many sheep?
Over 2,000 sheep.
On a plane?
Yeah.
Fuck me. I always feel like cattle when I'm herded onto Ryanair. You know, 3 abreast in a plane.
Them poor bastards. 2,000.
Wow. Oh, imagine the stench. Oh.
The first native English speaker to teach English in Japan was named Ranald MacDonald.
Big Mac, please, mate.
In remote parts of Australia, there are no lighted airships to guide pilots of Royal Flying Doctor Service for night landings. So when such airstrips run out of flares, they put 30 loo rolls along the edges of the airstrip and set them on fire.
Oh, Flying Doctors, that's a daytime TV
It
show.
Yeah.
It used to be, it was on fairly recently because I was on nights and it was on pre-COVID because I was on nights and it was always on ITV at about, Channel 3 at about like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was Flying Doctors, or certainly on one of the ITV channels.
There's no heli vets.
Heli vets?
Heli vets.
Are you telling me there's a show where vets go animals via helicopter and I didn't know about it?
There is on the, what was it called? Mitchell.
Oh yeah, Richard and Weblow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heli vets.
I'd watch Heli vets, so too fair.
People sleep better in countries with more gender equality.
No, that's bollocks.
Well, I guess the women sleep better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that, I suppose. Yeah, maybe.
If you publish a book in Norway, the government will buy 1,000 copies and distribute them to libraries around the country.
Oh, that's nice.
Good.
I'm going to publish a book in Norway
Yeah.
now. Constantly ring them up saying, anyone loan my book out? And the answer will be no. No, they haven't. It's shit.
Despite the reputation, the French eat less cheese per person than the Danes, Finns and Icelanders.
And I probably eat more cheese than the French. Just on my own. I love cheese.
I do love cheese.
I'm going to be a tyromancer, which is a cheese magician.
Ooh. You make it disappear.
No, there's this magic with a K.
Yeah.
You know, there's an art, necromancy, blah blah blah. And there's tyromancy, which is cheese magic with a K. You do rituals involving cheese. We'll do an episode on it one day. Tyromancy.
Alright, last one.
Okay.
Baby vampire bats are sometimes adopted by the mother's best friend if the mother dies.
Aww. That's ending the show on a nice note for once, instead of the horrible pain and murder and death we usually end on.
Well, it does mean that the baby vampires are just going to go and suck blood.
Yeah, well, they're going to kill people though.
Well,
Unless they all drink together on the same person.
I thought they went for animals' legs and, and such.
Yeah, I imagine that they'd probably go for a sleeping human. Let's see, why not?
I don't think they do. I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. I'm all for vampires. They've got to be invited in. You know?
Very good.
And on that note, let's end the show. So I've been Ben. Thanks for listening to the episode. Don't drink the flavour aid. Don't join a cult. Have a good one.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.
And I've been Claire. Keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills like this, guys.